The wait is over. Dive into Audible's most anticipated collection, The Best of 2025, featuring top audiobooks, podcasts, and originals across all genres. Our editors have carefully curated this year's must-listens, from brilliant hidden gems to the buzziest new releases. Every title in this collection has earned its spot. This is your go-to for the absolute best in 2025 audio entertainment. Whether you love thrillers, romance, or nonfiction, your next favorite listen awaits. Discover why there's more to imagine when you listen at audible.com/bestoftheyear.
And two, fired up, you're here with us. LSU head men's basketball coach Matt McMahon been with us in 15 minutes. Talk to Dr. Jeremy Burnham with Ochsner coming up at the end of this hour. Talk Heisman a little bit later on as well. LSU basketball gets in the win column. I want to talk a little bit about that. I was in the Smoothie King Center back on Saturday night, so plenty to do over the course of the next 2 hours. Appreciate y'all for hanging out with us here on this Monday. Let's get things started the way we do every single day. That's, of course, with our favorite Chevrolet GMC opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
Got to start with the Hoodats. Black and Gold get a second consecutive win in the game on Sunday afternoon. They were in the late window there. Maybe that was because of the high school state championship game the night before. I'm not sure why. What TV executive decided to put the Saints and Panthers in the 3 o'clock window, but they were there, and the Saints got a victory. I was cranky. I was very cranky with Kellen Moore because when the Saints went down and got the touchdown to go down by 1 with just over 2 minutes to go in the ball game, I wanted him to go for 2. I felt like at that point, you're a 2-win team. Like, Let's go for 2. Let's go for the win. Instead, he kicks the extra point with just over 2 minutes to go. But he redeemed himself. He redeemed himself because the defense goes out, gets that stop, huge sack from Chase Young coming off the edge, and the Saints get the ball back. And after the penalty, they're backed up in the shadow of their own goal post with just over a minute to go and played aggressively, played to go win the game. And maybe you would say that's an easy decision to make because, again, you have nothing to lose, which is why I wanted the Saints to go for 2 when they got that touchdown that was to put them down by 1. You could say, well, I mean, you don't have anything to lose. Go. And maybe so, but he did make that decision. And he let Tyler Shuck go make plays. And Tyler Shuck was accurate and decisive and didn't panic and then got fortunate with that late hit on the quarterback that puts you into field goal range so that Charlie Smith could provide the theatrics with 2 seconds to go. That's one there where by the letter of the law, it's an easy call. It's a tough way to lose a game if you're the Panthers, but he hit the quarterback above the shoulder pads while he was sliding. Like, you're going to get flagged for that every single time, and Charlie Smith comes through and makes it. So great win for the Saints. I thought they played really well in the game. They're having a very, very difficult time avoiding these really sluggish starts offensively. They're just not a good first drive team on offense. They're not a good first quarter team on offense. Only had 7 points at halftime. But you close strong, 10 points in the final 2 minutes of the game to win it. And I think you're seeing some really, really encouraging signs from Tyler Shuck. You really are. You heard after the game, you heard Chase Young talk about he might be that dude. And there's probably a sense of that. And there's really nothing more important than that right now in that New Orleans locker room than the perception that Tyler Shuck is coming of age in his first season. I'm not going to sit here today and proclaim him the future of the organization definitively, but I will sit here today and say, like, things are going well. Things are going well for Tyler Shuck. Keep in mind, in this game on Sunday, you win that game, and they didn't have a running game. Like, Tyler Shuck led the Saints in rushing with 32 yards. Devin Neal had 28. Evan Hull had 12. Autry-Gastine had 11. Taysom Hill had 2. And then you had Mason Tipton with a -4. But you did not have a running game. And Tyler Shuck kind of did it on his own. 24 of 32, 272 yards, did not turn it over. Yeah, he took 5 sacks, but he didn't turn it over. He made plays when he had to. And one of the things that you want to see from your quarterback is making winning plays. And Tyler Shuck, in back-to-back weeks, is making winning plays. I can think of nothing more illustrative of that than the Kansas City Chiefs last year and this year. The Chiefs last year went 11-0 in one-score games. Why? Because they have a great coach and a great quarterback, and they make winning plays. And then this year, with those same guys, granted, they're losing every one-score game. The NFL comes down to those games. Like, there aren't a lot of 31-13s in the NFL. Doesn't happen very often.
Because they have a great
There's a
coach
ton of
and a
20-17
quarterback,
in the
and
NFL.
they make winning plays.
And you need a quarterback who controls the moment,
with those same guys,
who
granted,
makes plays when they're
they're losing every
presented,
one-score
who
game.
can do it with his arms, who can do it with his
The
legs.
NFL comes
And
down
Tyler
to
Shuck
those
in
games.
back-to-back
Like,
weeks
there aren't
is
a lot
making
of
those
31
plays.
to 13s in the NFL.
It's not a work of
It's
art.
not- doesn't
Again,
happen
the
very
Saints
often.
scored 20 points in this
There's
game.
a ton of 20-17.
Tyler Shuck
in the
accounted
NFL.
for one
And
touchdown
you need a
in this game.
quarterback
It's
who
not like
controls
he's
the moment,
playing at an
who
MVP
makes
level.
plays when
So
they're
I don't
presented,
think
who
anyone's
can do it with his
suggesting that,
arms,
but
who can do it with his
it's
legs.
important to
And
contextualize.
Tyler
Like,
Shuck in back-to-back
he's just-
weeks is
he's just
making
growing
those
up.
plays.
and
It's
he
not a
doesn't
work
have a
of
great
art.
supporting
Again, the
cast.
Saints
Like,
scored 20
yes,
points
Chris
in this
Olave
game.
thankfully made that touchdown
Tyler
catch.
Shuck accounted
But the
for
play
one
before it,
touchdown in this game.
he's got to make that play. Like, catch the ball on that corner route. You're supposed to be the top option on this team. And that's an indictment on this, like, Saints team. Like, they don't have great wide receiver play. They don't have a good running game. The defense is playing well. They did again yesterday. And the offense is doing enough. And Tyler Shuck in fourth quarters, now in back-to-back weeks, is showing up and making plays. And that's so encouraging for the Saints. I'm sitting there watching this yesterday, and I'm thinking about what I'm going to say on the show on Monday. And it's an interesting deal that me personally, because when LSU plays, the postgame show is on in half an hour. I got to be ready to go. For the Monday show, I've got time to sit and think and like marinate on what I want to talk about and the take I want to have. It takes the emotion out of it that sometimes happens in a postgame show for LSU that I'm responsible for. And I wanted to be careful yesterday because I was like, man, that is so encouraging to go on that drive late and make that happen. But I don't feel like it's some sort of crowning achievement. Like, it's still early in this thing. But it's encouraging. So I don't want to get out over my skis with like, this is the dude, this is the next 10 years, here we go, the Saints have found their rock. Like, I'm not quite there. I think over the next 3 weeks, like, things could happen. But you certainly could have seen a scenario where Tyler Shuck came in and just the moment was too big and there were turnovers and poor decisions and missed throws and inaccuracies. You're seeing none of that. You're seeing a guy who is outplaying his peers. He's not outplaying the league. He's outplaying his peers in this draft class. And if the Saints got this right, and if Kellen Moore is learning on the job, you could have those two spots solidified. And that's how you push off the dock. You see what's happening in Houston right now. They've got the coach. They've got the quarterback. They're playing well. You see what's happening in New England. I mean, it is not that long ago that New England was a disaster. And now their quarterback's playing awesome, and their coach is really good. And I know what happened yesterday, and they coughed up a 21-point lead. But look where they are. They have 10 wins. There are other templates around this league where you get those two pieces in place, especially when you get that quarterback on a rookie deal, and it can start to move forward. And the last 2 weeks feel like the Saints are inching toward that. I'm being guarded because there can always be a valley that's coming, especially with an inexperienced player like Tyler Shuck. But I'm impressed. I'm impressed with the physical tools you knew were there. But the question was the decision-making, the speed of the game. Because I look at some of the things he did at Louisville and some of those poor decisions, winging the ball across his body, throwing the ball up for grabs, just bad decisions. We really haven't seen any of that in his short time as a Saints starter. I got a text yesterday from a buddy that said, here's a take. The Saints could win the division if they had gone to Shuck earlier than they did. If they had gone to Shuck after week 4 instead of right before the bye, like, could they win the South? Like, the South is awful. Tampa's falling apart. Atlanta's way worse than we thought. And the Panthers are sitting here at 500. Saints only 3 games behind that. I don't know about that. I don't know if I would suggest that if Shuck had played earlier, that the Saints would be a threat to win the division. But you look at where they are with 4 wins. You look what's coming up on the schedule. The Titans and Jets are right there. You've already swept Carolina to hold the tiebreaker. Like, it's not that outlandish a thought. It's not that big a deal. But unequivocally for me, I think at this point, now that you've seen Tyler Shuck make some plays, the next 3 weeks are about winning games. I want the culture of winning to sink in. I want the belief that Tyler Shuck and Kellen Moore are pushing this thing in the right direction to take over. I want that to be the message that is sent out to the rest of the league, especially when free agency cranks up. That, yeah, the Saints have had a really tough couple years, but they've got the guy now. You want to be a part of it? Come see. And I think you've got that opportunity with some bad teams left. The defense is playing really well. Brandon Staley's got those guys doing their thing. And it's not a work of art for Shuck. They're not setting offensive records. But 2 weeks in a row, crunch time, final 5 minutes, he's making plays to win games. Winning plays, the most important thing to see, and Tyler Shuck's giving them to you, and I think that's really, really encouraging for the New Orleans Saints. So fired up about it, fired up for Victory Monday here for the Black and Gold. 4-10 now. Tyler Shuck gets his first home win as a starting quarterback. Hopefully many, many more to come in New Orleans.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Cool matchup in the Smoothie King Center back on Saturday night. Had the LSU women's basketball team against Louisiana Tech, got a victory, and then Matt McMahon's LSU Tigers took the floor against SMU, earned their 9th win of the season, 89-77. Tigers now 9-1. Coach McMahon, good enough to give us a little bit of time before practice on the Jim's Firearms Hotline, joins us now. Coach, thanks for the time. How are you?
Hunt, doing very well. Really appreciate you having me on.
It's our pleasure. Obviously, let's go back a little bit before we start talking about the game on Saturday. You go to Fort Worth and had your first setback of the season, and then you didn't play for a week until you got down to New Orleans, and it was a much better result after a week off and then getting out there against SMU. What was the emphasis last week after your first loss?
Yeah, Hunt, I think just the overall sense of urgency. Our effort was fine against Texas Tech. We just didn't play well. Whether that was the travel coming back from Boston, first time playing a legitimate top 15 team, whatever the case may be, we did not play well. Our offense really put us in a tough spot. We took some questionable shots in the first half. We missed some open threes in Fort Worth. But we were always at a disadvantage in the first 20 minutes. And Texas Tech made us pay. And so I thought the week was about the urgency you have to have when you're playing these top 35 type teams like an SMU, and then the attention to detail on the offensive execution. And I was really proud of our players. I thought responded the right way. We had a great week of practice. I thought played with a lot of energy and confidence, and really executed well offensively on Saturday night.
No question about it. De'Don Thomas, 12 assists in the game. That's a career high for him. He's talked in some press conferences about you telling him that you don't really want to call very many plays. He'd like the guys to just go do that. Why is that your preference?
Well, I just love him in the open floor. I think he's really difficult to prepare for because he's such a smart player. He's capable scorer, but he's such a great passer. He just does a great job. So when we can play out of our random actions, now there's concepts behind it, Hunt. It's not just a street ball pickup game.
Sure.
But we want to play out of those concepts where he's a little more difficult to scout. Our transition offense ranks top 5 in the country. So my common sense tells me we want to play in transition a lot more. And I thought we played a lot faster on Saturday night, and it was reflected in our assists and some of the easy baskets we were able to get out in the open floor.
Yeah, when I was writing the preview of the game for SMU, I saw that they were in the top 15 in the country in terms of possessions per game. They want to run, and y'all outran them. How encouraging was that?
It's huge for us. They have a really explosive offense, so we were concerned certainly about their firepower with Miller and Pierre. But I just think that's where we're at our best. Second half, our half-court execution was the best it's been all year. I think we were 17 to 25 from the floor. DJ orchestrated all that. But I really want to see us out in the open floor playing in transition and trying to take advantage of not only our speed in our front court. I thought Markel Sutton and Pablo Tamba were phenomenal there. but also we've shot the ball a lot better from three in transition than we have in the half court. So we're trying to get as many of those type looks as we can get.
Every once in a while, Max just goes nuts from behind the arc. He did that again on Saturday. How much different is y'all's offense when he's making those shots?
Well, it's a big key for us. I'm glad I didn't throw him off the team after the first half at Texas Tech. He just didn't play well. I mean, he just didn't make shots. You look at going into that game, he was all tournament over in Destin along with DJ and our 2 wins there. He hits the huge 3 to put us up 7 in overtime at Boston College. So we spent the week just talking about you got to play with great confidence and urgency. He was incredible on Saturday. 6 of 7 from 3, 22 points. I was really proud of him for his response coming off the Texas Tech game where he didn't shoot it well.
How do you feel y'all are handling moving forward without Jalen in the front court?
Well, this was the first time we got to practice an extended period of time since the injury happened, just the way the schedule fell. And so, I think clearly it was the best we've looked offensively since that happened. Gave us a chance to spend some time. And Markel Sutton has essentially played all his time on the wing since he got here in June. And we were able to practice him some in the front court during final exam week. And you saw how effective he was, 23 points and 12 rebounds, moving down to the forward position some. And then because of foul trouble with Rob and Mike Nwoko, you saw Pablo Tamba go all the way down to play the 5 position. And I thought he was really effective with the double-double. So we still got a ways to go there, but it definitely was the best we've looked since the Reed unfortunate injury.
When you looked at the non-conference schedule, there was always going to be that point where you went, okay, Drake, DePaul, Boston College, Texas Tech, SMU, and now you're out of that, and you did very well, 4-1 in that stretch. How do you feel your guys handled the bigger names on this non-conference before you get ready for SEC play?
Well, Hunt, the obvious, at Texas Tech we didn't handle well, but most importantly, we responded well to that and got a big win over SMU Saturday. We put ourselves in a good position. We were able to raise our computer profile through the first 10 games of the non-conference. I believe we're at 32 in the net. Now there's a long way to go, but getting that first quad 1 win was important. There are 8 teams ranked ahead of us that don't have any quad 1 wins. So that was big for us. And I think we got our team better during final exam week. I think this is a big stretch for us now, with 3 home games before SEC play. We got to keep improving and figure some things out without having that secondary post-up score with Jalen Reed out now.
Well, let's see the emphasis over the next 2 weeks before SEC play with those 3 games. Is there something you're specifically working with your guys on?
Well, I think right away you look at Southeastern Louisiana on Friday night. They are, I believe, when I looked this morning, 19th in the country in forced turnovers. They do some similar things defensively that Texas A&M does, who we'll face in our SEC opener. So I think ball security, handling, and attacking pressure not only in the full court but also the half court will be important for us. Want to really develop our confidence in shooting the 3. As you and I have discussed, we haven't shot it consistently well there, and I think that's going to be important for us from a spacing standpoint to help DJ space the floor and also to open up those post-up opportunities for Nwoko, where he's been such a pleasant surprise. He's phenomenal down there scoring the ball in the post. So we've got to be able to shoot the 3 to space the floor properly.
Coach, we'll let you get to practice. We'll see you in the PMAC on Friday night.
Hey, look forward to it, Hunt. Thanks so much.
That's Coach Matt McMahon with LSU Basketball. Tigers beat SMU 89-77, moved to 9-1 on the season. I've got a piece up at LouisianaSports.net right now talking about their net profile and kind of what their resume looks like. It is way, way early, and I understand that you got a lot of conference games you got to play that are gonna hold a lot of weight. But LSU right now is in a pretty good spot. They were in a pretty good spot at this time last year, and it didn't go very well. This team, I think, feels a little bit better. I'm going to give you my thoughts on LSU and SMU in the second hour. We'll do that at the top of hour number 2 in 35 minutes. But appreciate Coach McMahon for giving us a little bit of time. He said they practice at 1:30, so I said, well, can you come on at 1:15 and we'll let you off a little early? He said, sure. So they did. But it was a good outing for LSU to outrun and outscore SMU. I thought was impressive because that's a team in SMU that plays really fast, that has really explosive guards, and LSU just took it to them, outscored them 47-44 in the first half, which was a track meet. And then the second half, LSU kept it up with 42 more points, and SMU tapered off with just 33. So big-time win for the Tigers in the Smoothie King Center over SMU. I'll give you my thoughts on it in 35 minutes or so this year. So that's the good news. The bad news is that Delane did not win the Jim Thorpe Award over the weekend. Caleb Downs from Ohio State received the award, and I knew that was coming. The way that Mansoor Delane had a chance to win that award would be if the voters looked at the analytics. If you look at the stat sheet, you're not going to vote for Mansoor Delane. But if you looked at some of the deeper things, the Pro Football Focus grade, the targets compared to the receptions, that kind of thing, you're not going to get there off interceptions, passes broken up, and tackles, which are like the easiest 3 things to go look at. Mansoor Delane's not going to stack up as the best player at his position in the country from that. But if you want to look at the coverage, where he's allowing under a 40% completion percentage, he allowed 2 first downs all year. That is one of the most absurd statistics I have ever seen, that a cornerback in the Southeastern Conference went out there for a season and allowed 2 first downs. That is remarkable. But Caleb Downs was always going to win this award because Caleb Downs is the most famous player on the ballot. Caleb Downs was a 5-star recruit. He went to Alabama and started as a freshman. He transferred to Ohio State, was on a national championship team last year, and he's a phenomenal player, The NFL draft will show that when he is a first-round pick in a couple of months. Mansoor Delane will be a first-round pick as well. But this is one of those deals like Grant Delpit, like Marvin Harrison Jr., It's a Lifetime Achievement Award. That's what Caleb Downs got on Saturday. I think that Malik Neighbors absolutely deserved the Biletnikoff a couple of years ago, but Marvin Harrison Jr. was just considered the best wide receiver, so he got that award. And I think that Mansoor Delane's the best defensive back in the country this year, and Caleb Downs is just more famous and won that award. It doesn't really matter, but there is something to DBU in recruiting. And I don't think that Corey Raymond's reputation is hurt by the fact that Mansoor Delane didn't win the award, but it would be nice to have one because, like, y'all know how this went. Y'all know that LSU was in a run of just elite defensive back play under Corey Raymond. He went to Gainesville. Immediately, LSU was atrocious in the secondary. He comes back in year two for Corey Raymond. He would have had the Thorpe Award winner if Mansoor Delane had won this. He's the first team All-American anyway. The Thorpe Award winner. And then 1-3 gave DJ Pickett top true freshman defensive player in the country. Not secondary, top defensive player among true freshmen in the nation. In year 2, that's what Corey Raymond would have done. Like, that is remarkable. And that's why Haven Finney signs up to play for him from California. And basically said, wherever Corey Raymond's coaching, that's where I'm going to go. Which means if he would have stayed at Florida, he probably would have gone to Florida. If the new coaching staff had not retained Corey Raymond, which we don't know if that's going to happen or not, but we think it is, then he would have gone elsewhere. But there is absolutely, unequivocally, a line between Corey Raymond and the best defensive back high school prospects in the nation. And he has the ability to get them to pick up the phone and to express interest in LSU based on his track record previously. I do not mean this in any way, shape, or form as a slight to Corey Raymond. I'm just pointing out my interactions with him. I have not found Corey's incredibly nice and accommodating when I do the interviews with him once a year for the pregame show. It's a 4-minute interview. That's it. That's my entire interaction with Corey Raymond for a year. But he's not the most like affable, jovial guy. Like, he's not this big personality. He recruits at this level because he's a good communicator and he's got the track record that speaks for him. Hey, you want to see the dudes that are in the league that I've put through this program into that league? Come on. And I think he could have had another feather in his cap on Saturday if Mansoor Delane would have won this award. And while people talk about Twitter, you know, what matters, what doesn't, what public relations, what has substance, like the DBU thing at LSU means something. It does transcend from the guys in Corey Webster's era all the way to the high school players now. All of them know about DBU. There is a pride that comes with it, and it is an advantage to LSU on the recruiting trail to have that in their back pocket. Like, I can't think of a more famous position group at a school than DBU at LSU. Like, Penn State had linebacker U for a while and whatnot, and Oklahoma had that incredible run of quarterbacks with Lincoln Riley. Alabama's had running back after running back after running back go to the NFL. But I think as far as DBU and LSU, like, that is a famous thing that has gone to a level where it actually does matter in recruiting. You've got kids who are 16, 17 years old that are high-profile recruits from all over the country. Haven Finney, Eli Ricks out there in California, DJ Pickett in Florida. Sometimes they're in their backyard like Derek Stingley and Tre'Davious White, but sometimes you got to go out to Tennessee and get Grant Delpit. And like, the LSU's ability to recruit that position on a national brand has been repeatable. And I think that you had a chance to put another feather in your cap on Saturday, but it just didn't feel like it was going to happen because you were going to have to really dig deeper than just looking at the stat sheet where it goes, 2 interceptions and 10 pass breakups. That just doesn't pop like some of the advanced analytics, the Pro Football Focus grades, that kind of stuff does. I broke this race down when they announced the finalists 2 weeks ago. And I looked at it and said, I thought maybe Delane has a chance because Caleb Downs plays a different position and he didn't have a staggering tackle total. Like, you see some safeties that got 80, 85 tackles, and that would have dwarfed anything Mansoor Delane did on a stat sheet because, well, they don't throw the ball at him very much. But he didn't have that. He only had about 10 more tackles than Delane did. But he had the picks, and he had the name recognition, which I think ultimately was what won out there for Mansoor Delane. And for Caleb Downs to win the Thorpe Award. So, bummer, but the good news that Mansoor Delane did get first-team AP All-American honors today. Just a phenomenal season, and the next guy that you can talk about in the line of DBU that will make a lot of cash come the NFL draft in a couple of months. All right, before we get to Dr. Jeremy Burnham, I've got a bit of a take here. We'll see how you feel about this, Taylor. I'm out on Diego Pavia. I'm out. He seems like a punk to me.
I was out on him before this year. I mean, when you outwardly are like, hey, I want Johnny Manziel to be in my corner, a guy who a lot of people think the same things of, like, yeah, no, I'm out on him.
This has nothing to do with him hitting the Heisman while playing LSU. Like, I don't care about that. I don't care about players celebrating. I don't care about bat flips or whatever, dancing after touchdowns. Like, I don't care about any of that stuff. Have fun. It's a game. But the whole thing, like, F the voters and then doubling down on it in the club with the sign, and, like, there's just such an air of cockiness, and he just doesn't seem like a good dude. I'm just out. I don't know Diego, but I don't like what I'm seeing.
It was after Vanderbilt, Tennessee, or before the game, whenever it was. His brother had, like, been detained because he got in a fight with, like, some security guard or whatever. Diego Pavia's response was, well, you know, we're from Albuquerque, and that's basically Grand Theft Auto, so, like, it makes a lot of sense. First off, I've been to Albuquerque. You know it's not. You're not that cool. Secondly, like, no apology, he was in the wrong, nothing.
I mean, there's so many ingredients to Diego Pavia that would make you so likable.
Right.
You're taking Vanderbilt to this next level. You're an undersized guy, underdog story, coming from the lower level through the transfer portal, beating Alabama, 10-2, could have made the playoffs. And, like, just the way he acts and the things he says, it's just not likable. It's just not likable. And I'm out on Diego Pavia. That was weak on Saturday is what it was. Like, it was weak. So just a thought there on Saturday's award festivities. Fernando Mendoza, Heisman Trophy winner. I thought the coolest moment for Mendoza was when he spoke to his grandparents in Spanish. I thought that was a nice touch. It obviously meant a lot to his grandparents who were there. And I didn't watch a ton of Indiana this year. I watched the Penn State game, certainly watched the Ohio State game. I don't know that he was the flashiest or most dominant Heisman winner we've ever seen, but undefeated team, went to Oregon and won, beat Ohio State. It's a heck of a go, and nobody really flashed beyond him. So I thought nice effort there for Fernando Mendoza, and a worthy winner, if not the most spectacular Heisman winner we've ever seen. I won't be going, oh, remember that Mendoza season? That's probably not one that's going to come out like, oh, remember that, Burrow season or Cam Newton season. But well deserved, and good Heisman ceremony back on Saturday.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Closing up hour number 1 here on this Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Time now for Sports Health, presented by Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Time to bring Dr. Jeremy Burnham back to the show. Dr. Burnham, how are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing good. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Not a great afternoon in the NFL yesterday, especially with two of the greatest players in the sport going down with ACL injuries. Micah Parsons of the Packers and then Patrick Mahomes of the Chiefs, both confirmed today torn ACLs. You've got a lot of experience in that department. Those guys are good as they come. What's the return table kind of look like, generally speaking, for those two guys as now you start to look toward next season?
Yeah, so, unfortunately, the timeline is still a pretty long timeline after ACL injury. There's been a lot of advancements in how we rehab it and the types of surgery that we do. But that timeline, if anything, has kind of expanded over the last, 5 to 10 years. So you're looking at around 9 to 12 months. You'll see, usually 10 or 11 is kind of the sweet spot in the NFL on average. And that's why, you hate to see that somebody in the prime of their career, have an injury like this, because it's not as easy as just take a few weeks off or just have a surgery and then you'll be back a month later. This is really an extended timeline.
I'm curious about this as well. This kind of blends a couple of athletes together, but I'm thinking about Jalen Reed at LSU Basketball, who had an ACL injury last year and then comes back and immediately has an Achilles injury. And then I heard what Joe Burrow said back last week about how things have been tough on him mentally coming back from as many injuries as he's had. Obviously, there's a physical aspect to rehabilitation and to these long-term injuries, but do y'all have to worry sometimes about the mental side of it, kind of these elite athletes kind of learning to do everything and the amount of time it takes them away from their teams?
Yeah, you absolutely do. As tough as the physical side is, I think that the mental side is just as tough, if not more tough. When you're an elite athlete, or if you're, a high school athlete or a middle school athlete, and your identity is being able to participate and being able to compete, when you tear your ACL, that gets taken away from you immediately. And then it's not like, in a few weeks later, like we mentioned, you're going to be back. You're talking about a very extended timeline. And so I think the mental aspect is very, very difficult. We put a lot of work into that. We have some different tools that help us screen that. When we are rehabbing these patients, when we're talking to these patients, we're focusing on the mental aspect of that. It's a very long, drawn-out rehab process, and most people start out with a great attitude, and what's really challenging is to keep that enthusiasm and keep that consistency when you get 9 months, 10 months, all those types of things. It's absolutely a challenge.
Would you advise a 44-year-old to go play quarterback in the NFL?
Hey, that's pretty impressive, right? I think you have to have a lot of respect, just the ability to say, hey, I'm going to go out there and compete, and also to, physically be able to do that. I think he's obviously got the mind of a competitor and the spirit of a competitor, and I think made some great plays as well. But really impressive. The older we get, the more you do have to think about injuries, overuse injuries, those types of things. So certainly something to think about. Impressive
stuff there. I know you're a letter winner at LSU on the football field. Tigers have a new head coach. We haven't spoken since Lane Kiffin was introduced. What's your level of excitement for what Coach Kiffin can do here in Baton Rouge?
Look, it's an 11 out of 10 right now. I'm super excited. This LSU football is the flagship place, I think, in the entire country, and to have one of the hottest names in coaching, if not the best name out there right now, actively coaching, is just amazing. There's so much potential here, and I feel like the entire state is excited, maybe the entire country, except for our competitors.
Exactly, it's an exciting time down here in Baton Rouge. High school football now in the rearview mirror, into basketball now. What's going on over there at Elite?
Look, speaking of ACL injuries, we have a lot of focus. We have an ACL Center of Excellence. And basically what that means is we're trying to cover ACL injuries top to bottom. We talk a lot about the treatment of ACL injuries. Certainly there's, advances in surgery and things that are happening surgically that are important. That rehab process, 9, 10, 11, 12 months, I mean, that's a lot of rehab and return to sports. So we have our athletic trainers, our physical therapists, and our strength coaches working on that aspect. And as we've talked about before, we're doing a lot to focus on the prevention of that. I mean, if there's a way that we can prevent these injuries, if you look at Micah Parsons' injury, I mean, he had that typical dynamic knee valgus pivot that leads to ACL injuries, non-contact ACL injuries. We're trying to do anything we can to prevent people from having that happen. So that's a big focus of ours.
We appreciate the time on this Monday. Have a great week, Dr. Burnham.
Have a great one. Thanks, Tom.
That is Dr. Jeremy Burnham.